Breaking news. Although this is an unscripted video, I just had to talk about this. The company Snapdragon has released a bunch of new laptop chips for supporting the Windows ARM architecture. So, Windows ARM is a version of the Windows operating system designed specifically for power efficient ARM based processors. That is the kinds of processors that Snapdragon makes for phones and now computers, offering superior battery life and more compatibilities compared to traditional Intel and AMD chips. This version of Windows ARM, is a more efficient, more performant version of Windows. So, for the longest time, Windows has had to run on x64 and x86 architectures, which means that they have to consume more power to get work done, which often makes them slower than Apple laptops that run on ARM. Now, Apple is the one that pioneered with having an ARM architecture on a laptop, and it has been going well for them. Now, Windows and Snapdragon have obviously been working on something to counter back with that, and that first started with the Snapdragon X Elite, which was the first iteration of having an ARM processor run the Windows operating system. And it went terribly for them. It was a disaster show. There were bugs for days, so many things didn't work. And it was just the first step in trying to figure out how to catch up in performance to Apple laptops, which are now some of the best performing laptops in the world. Now, they have released their second generation of their Snapdragon X chips, being the Snapdragon X2 Elite and the Snapdragon X2 Elite Extreme. Now, the Extreme is a more powerful version of the normal X2 Elite. But now, they have solved some of the major issues that have plagued the first generation of their processors. So, what has the Snapdragon X2 Elite, Extreme, and the others improved on? Well, for one, it has ironed out a lot of the bugs that plagued the Snapdragon X Elite, being the first generation of Snapdragon processors running Windows. And what has this gone down to? This means that there are a lot more software that can run on Windows ARM devices without issues with this Snapdragon X2 Elite. And it also has optimized for battery life, getting more. It has basically optimized everything else across the board. So games that can run on Windows, regular Windows x86, now run on Windows ARM, and it has, it's getting good. It's actually getting good, and that means that for the longest time that Apple has been able to lead the way in getting the best performance in a laptop at a very certain price point. Now, Windows can actually catch up. There is a chance for Windows to catch up and compete with Apple properly in the laptop space when it comes to having more efficient chips. Now, is everything now miraculously better on the Windows ARM machines? Well, no, because there are still some apps that need better compatibility support. There are still basic stuff that have to be still integrated into Windows ARM, because not everything works out the gates. A lot more apps function on Windows ARM, even if they are not natively supported. They are now compatible to a degree, but it's still not the perfect kind of integration that, for example, exists on Apple ecosystems or Apple laptops. So it's just there's still a lot of catching up to be done for support for third-party applications. For me, this is good news, because the thing about this kind of technology is that it's only held back by the legacy infrastructure, being Intel processors, AMD processors, Nvidia processors, who Microsoft is a very big beneficiary from in terms of getting their profits and everything else. So, aside from a few maybe constraints in the industry right now, for me, this is the best advancement in laptop technology that has happened in a long time, outside of Apple releasing the first M series processors. For me, this is like that moment, but for Windows devices. If they can match the reliability of a Windows x86 laptop while matching the performance of an Apple laptop, the Snapdragon X laptops will probably become some of the more popular options for Windows users because its performance on battery life, which x86 laptops are not good at, and it's also matching the reliability of regular Windows x86 laptops. So you're getting performance and you're getting reliability across the board. If they can lock in and do these things to just iron out the case, it's GG's for everybody involved. And I just want to make my stance clear on this, that I want this to happen. If I can afford this laptop, I will get it, because right now the laptops are expensive, obviously, because this is new technology. But as the technology advances and as it becomes more affordable, that's my go-to. That's honestly my go-to, because this is the kind of breakthroughs I've been waiting to happen on Windows. And it's good that it's finally happening, because I made a previous video on how Intel is not really putting in the work to be performant. But now that it is, Snapdragon has stepped up and overtaken it on their second generation of laptop processors in their time in the industry. They are beating out legacy manufacturers in the industry. They are beating out Intel, AMD, Nvidia, and they are doing it very well. And I want them to do it better, and that's just my take on it. I love it, obviously, that I want to do it properly. I want them to execute it properly, and yeah, for me, I'd like it if they come out on top, because I don't know, Windows is a sweet operating system, except for their data kinks in Windows 11. Windows 11 is not very good, but it's still a very good system. Play games, do all your work, do whatever. If you can do all that on reliable ARM processors for Windows, it's sold. That's just it. So I would like to see how this develops, and I'll probably be keeping tabs on it now that it has gotten so good. And if anything else develops, I'll make a video on that, let you guys know. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.